As in Christian.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to this live talk where we will discuss so many topics. I mean, it's like it was meant to be to have this live talk and have that news right in front of us this whole week. But hey, before we start, I mean, there are a lot of topics. There's the cruise, there is the Potter, there is the game of yesterday, and there is, even if we still have time, the interview of Miko Tatsu, and so on, and so on, and so on. Lots to discuss. But before we start, I still want to know how you all feel. Papi Mento, how you
What's
feel,
up,
man?
man? After last night's game, if that's what you're referring to, yeah,
Of course, man. And of course about
I'm
you as
pissed.
well, but
Yeah. No, I'm pissed about what happened last night because without that red card from Bergwijn, no reason to lose points in that match. So to be honest, I'm kind of fed up with Ajax this season and the way we play, just because the intention, Sahbi, the way we start games. I mean, if you look at the second half and we show forward intention, it's a totally different Ajax. And from the start, you just see back passing, side passes. Even when it's open up front, they still go backwards. It's like, where's the
yeah,
directness? Where's the hunger to score? Where's the hunger to stay fifth? All this frustrates me a lot. Frustrates me also from Van het Schip, because I think it's also tactical and it's also something you can teach. And we're not seeing any progression with this team in pressing, in defending together, in recovering balls. It's like walking back the whole time in defense. So for me, I'm very pissed. I don't want to see this next season. And I'm happy we almost have a coach that's gonna get an entire summer window, preseason,
yeah,
etc. Because we have seen it being done much different last season. So that's the little positives I have, and Cruz now being technical director, etc. The pieces are falling into play, but for me, the most important thing is the football. All
yeah.
this boardroom stuff, I don't care about. To be honest, I just want to see beautiful football.
Oh, still 3 games left, so let's hope for a good outcome. At least 3 games. Let's. I mean, it can all turn out to be multiple games. Uh, Luke, aka Luke Skywalker, Lucky Luke. But for me, your coach Luke. Any feeling? Any new uh, key takeaways with regards to yesterday? Because you had a game talk for the people who didn't look at it. It was quite interesting. But now, the day after, any new things that come up your mind?
Sadly, for me now, I look at watching Ajax at the moment as a chore, and it gets to the point because I get bored during the game because, like Puppy said, lack of intensity, and like I said on the game talk yesterday, lack of intensity is not a negativity in terms of passing. Don't want to go forward. I just find it really boring. I won't say too much because I said it last night, but I am really really bored at the moment watching them, and
Yeah.
hopefully. The new manager comes in and we have a good summer window and can press on from there.
Cool, man. And of course, we can't, and we can end with one of our brighter guest panels, Peer, the knower of the talents. So, of course, we want to have your input as well. What were your thoughts of yesterday's game?
Too much praise, first of all. I don't know all the talents. I'm happy to know a
Well,
couple, and
if people
that's good
people
enough.
follow you, if
Um,
people follow you on Twitter, we see some interesting names. So, I mean, props, man.
Thank you so much. About the game, I think there's one positive. I mean, we played 4-3-3. The lineup for the first time this season made sense to me. But the way we played the game, it felt like we were back in 2012 with Frank de Boer, and we were just passing the ball wide and back again. And that I fell asleep after, I think, 23 minutes. I think I tweeted, it feels like the game has been going on for an hour. What's happening? There wasn't anything going on. I think Wrench made 2 good plays in the entire game, and that's almost all of the chances we've had.
Kenneth
was
Taylor,
dreadful.
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
The
Yeah.
header was a nice one from Guy.
The header was good.
Kroes.
Yeah, the header was good. Unfortunate off the bar, but
Yeah,
not bad.
true. Okay, I mean, let's all settle down now. Game has passed. Let's move on to until next week for the next game. But for now, we did receive some positive news, right? I mean, let's not start with Cruz. Let's start with, well, maybe we should start with Cruz, like top down. Let's start with Cruz. We got the news today that Cruz has been appointed. He stepped down officially as the chairman and CEO of Ajax, and now becoming the new titular technical director of Ajax. This has been done in agreement with the supervisory board. So there are probably a lot of negotiation going on, but eventually he's now having a formal role. Titular mainly because there's still an investigation ongoing with the regulator, and until further notice, if he was found not guilty, etc., etc., he will have his formal role. So for me, what I want to know from all of you, and let's start with you, Pierre. What are your thoughts about this new role? Do you think this will probably change the course that has been set up previously by him? Do you think this is a good way to keep him? Your first feeling when you impression when you hear the news.
Well, first of all, I was surprised. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to make your general director a technical director out of nowhere. Even though I think most of us in the end wanted to keep Cruz. What he's done was not great, and it would be fair if he was fired. But then again, the club really needs someone to be there right now, and I do think he could be that guy. The way they stated him back is a bit weird because it's a titular technical director, which I think basically means that he has the title of a technical director and he'll fill that role, but he doesn't have the power that comes with it.
Yeah, formally he doesn't have the authority, but it will be accepted within the organization for the time being until further notice, of course, when we receive the conclusion from the regulator indeed.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, then I understand, and I think for the fans it won't change much because I think they'll keep going on the same route. I mean, he wanted to get Potter as a coach. He wanted to scout players with Beuker and De Lang. I don't think anything will change there. I think maybe the only change is that he won't be able to fire a couple people in the company that he might have wanted to fire. I'm not sure. But I don't think the fans will experience a lot of what's going on there behind the scenes.
Okay, and Papi, you have the same feeling, or are you in
Look, I'm not very known with Cruz. I do know he has an Ajax heart, and for that or alone, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think the things with the stocks of Ajax is something he could get rich off. So it's not malicious. I still believe that he didn't do it with the wrong intentions. So for me, it's okay to stay. It's like really a big argument about something very small, in my opinion. I know we have to be good with the rules because we're traded, etc. But if you look at the facts, it's not a very big problem what happened there. So for that sense, I'm happy Cruz is still with Ajax. Look, he already said during the Sigo interview that he would take over this transfer window. So I think now that he's a technical director, he's going to do the same thing as he was planning. And he is someone that's not going to do it on his own. I felt from the interview that he's someone that's going to bring people together and have the right philosophy as a team. Every knows the same direction, as they say here in Holland. So I feel even though he doesn't have the power to do certain stuff, he will engage with other people to get him on the right on his vision, let's say. And that
Yeah.
I do see in Cruz.
Okay. And what about you, Luke? Do you, besides the question that I've asked to Pierre and Papimento, knowing he will become the title of technical director, what does this mean for the corporate governance in general? The CEO, do you think we will get a heavyweight or more a straw man? Because eventually Cruz will call the shots. Do you think that will happen, or will he remain the technical director, keeping busy with the technical role, and then having somebody who has particular experience being the new CEO?
No, I think that eventually this whole thing will go and we'll all forget about it. He'll then go back to CEO. Supervisory board members will quit because they haven't got their way. Cruz will go back in charge, and then we'll get a technical director again. Because my only concern is, although he has an Ajax heart, which is great, and I think he would be willing to work with Potter if he's a manager or whoever, is his football knowledge. Like, he was never involved as a technical director anyway the first time. So I know he's all about business and finances or whatever, or things like that. I'm just concerned that he the experience, I say, the football brain is harsh, but they said the experience of being a technical director going forward, and obviously I know there won't be a permanent. I feel like it would be a permanent thing, but hopefully while he's there, he can work with Potter or whoever the new manager is to go into the summer and get us going again.
You can argue again. By the way, he said he doesn't have a role or experience as a technical director, but he was always on the other side of the table as an agent, as an owner of an agent. So maybe that could be an advantage for him and for Ajax in general.
Yeah, it could be, but like I said, if he wants the best for Ajax and he's got an Ajax heart, excuse me, he can. Sorry, one sec. Go to someone else. Give me one sec.
No worries. Let's proceed to the other guys. Okay. Well, I think this part is probably very, 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 very good for Papimento when this comes up, because the news came in that Cruz himself wants to add Christian Kuffour as a member of a technical staff, as one of the assistants, and that's particularly one of those roles that Cruz wants to bring in. You know, somebody who has Champions League experience and knows how to win a Champions League with a background at Ajax. A lot of players thought, a lot of fans thought Bogarde, Davids, etc. But Kuffour, I mean, what is your feeling when you just heard the news?
You want me to go first? I was very happy.
I see that smile already. So
look, Kuffour for me was one of my favorite defender growing up. So I thought he was going to have a major career, but due to injuries, he didn't live up to his full potential. But not only that, Sahbi, he has experience as a coach already. I think he's been a coach at Inter. So it's not like he comes only on the basis of Ajax DNA. No, he's also coming with experience as a trainer, assistant trainer somewhere else. And so that combined with the Ajax DNA and everything he did as a player, yeah, I love that. And he's a great defender, so he can teach our defenders something.
Yeah, I mean, he did absolutely great at Ajax in I think 2003 or somewhere in the 2000, where he did so great with Zlatan. I still remember. I mean, such emotions are coming up.
You know which image always comes to mind? The Inzaghi goal with Kuffour where he slides. For me, that image, every time I talk about Kuffour, I think of that moment because that moment hurt so much. He was playing such a good game.
Yeah, against AC Milan, indeed. The injury time goal. Don't want to talk about that at the moment. Happy you're back, Luke. Hope everything's fine there.
Yeah, sorry, it was just my dog decided to go absolutely nuts, to just bark at nothing like the wind. But it echoes up the stairs, so I had to go and tell him to shut up.
No
So
worries, no worries, no worries.
he's obviously a PSV fan, clearly, because he doesn't want me doing this. You know what I mean?
obviously. So, but no worries. And now we were talking about Kuffour, the news that he might become because Cruz wants to add him as an assistant within technical staff of Ajax. And yeah, we know Papimento, huge fan of Kuffour, so he saw that smile and he just mentioned why he would be an asset for you, Pierre. Do you think he? I mean, I see that smile as well. So you fully agree with Papimento? Do you have something to add,
Yeah,
maybe?
I think I fully agree. I'd love having Kuffour on the squad as an assistant coach. I also think it's interesting. I mean, some of the names that have been named before were like Frank de Boer, which I think wouldn't be an. I think they talked about having an equal assistant coaching group, and if you have de Boer as one of the assistant coaches, that wouldn't be possible.
No.
Whereas I think Bogarde, of course, was named. But he left because there was no future for him to become the first team coach. So I think that chapter's closed. I didn't expect him to come back. So having Kuffour would be fantastic.
Yeah. And I assume, Luke, you fully agree with that, or did you rather see somebody else as an addition or as a replacement, if that would happen?
I can't say I followed him post-playing career, so I can't really comment on what he can and can't do as a trainer or as a coach. But Cruz hasn't obviously done anything for us not to trust him, and Kuffour is obviously a fan favorite. So we'll have to see how it goes if it happens.
Yeah. And not
Hopefully
only
successful.
fan favorite, a Champions League winner with Inter.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
did.
obviously.
I mean, obviously he would be an asset. And I see in the comments already, which I will come back with later on, a lot of guys who are happy with Kuffour as well. So yeah, I mean, he's a hero, but for me, Cruz would be a hero. He would get the hero status as well if you would bring him in.
No,
But
no, no, no. That happens only after a good window. No, no, no. He still has the
the
summer
window,
to
no,
prove
I mean,
himself.
if you start
Kuffour
already
is
with
the
this,
first step. But
give me
it's not.
something, man. Give me something.
No, that
Give me
status only
something.
goes up after the summer. No, no, no. Not
Okay,
only
okay.
Kuffour is gonna bring him up there. Come on, Sabi.
Okay, well, then let's talk about the first potential signing, which has been considered already a guarantee thing. Let's talk about Potter, the potential coach of Ajax. It's practically a done deal, according to a lot of big media papers. And there was already a first offer, which was declined by Potter because there was a huge gap between the salary which has been proposed and what he usually earned. But one thing is for sure, he'd love to coach Ajax, which is personally the first thing that I would like to see in a coach. You really want to be the coach of Ajax and bring back the club where it should be eventually. Um, but now, since Cruz is being part of the management board, it seems like it's going to be a done deal. So, what I would like to know from Luke to start with, what is your thought? I mean, you live in the UK, you probably see a lot of Premier League games. You watched him probably when he was a coach at Brighton, at Chelsea. So give me something, give me some good news. Don't be, I mean, you know me, yeah? I only want good news, but just give me your honest opinion about him.
So the consensus in England is that he is liked by a lot of fans of different teams. A lot of people touted him to being the manager at one point because of Brighton. He does such a good job. He's kickstarted their whole scouting network thing where they built up from whatever, and they had these players at Brighton like Trossard and McAllister, etc. He started that whole scouting thing and the way they're playing to allow coaches like De Zerbi to go and build on it and carry it on. And you know, he was first seen when he had his team Östersund's. They played against Arsenal, etc. in Europa League, and that's when people were like, hang on, there's an English coach abroad, and he was playing good football. And at Brighton, he always liked to be on the front foot, possession football, likes his team to press and likes overloads. So they're all positive things. That's what Ajax fans want, in my opinion. He's a likable person in the dressing room. I heard that when he left Chelsea, there was no like uproar in the dressing room. It was just not what the club wanted to go forward with. But he was well liked in the dressing room, well liked everywhere he went, which is a good thing as well, because I'm sick of these training ground fights or arguments or everything going wrong at training. And he's known to improve players also. You know, you saw the likes of McAllister, etc. He managed to get moved to Liverpool, but was at Brighton and Trossard, etc. So he's done well with those players. So given the right players at the right time, he could potentially, I think, improve them. The only thing is that he likes to tinker a lot. He will change his system and adapt it to the opposition. So for Ajax fans that want to see a 4-3-3 every week and consistency and stuff, he will change it. Not saying he'll change the whole system, but he'll change it depending on the opposition. And he does favour 3 at the back at times, but likes lots of players that can play lots of positions. Like Hato, for example, could play left back, could play centre back, could potentially one day play a 6. He likes players that could do 2 or 3 things, so he can move it around and they can rotate, because he's very fluid with the way his teams play. But the thing at Chelsea is, we all know Chelsea like to get rid of their managers as soon as they lose a game. So he obviously didn't have enough time to do anything, and things didn't go his way. So that's looked upon as a bit of a failure, even though it was only 7 months. But overall, considering where we are now with Van Skip and the managers we've had, Potter would be fantastic for us to build on, even if he's there for a few seasons to get us back on our feet, to really help us elevate again and get a nice foundation for the future. And then we go on to someone else. I think it would be a good appointment for us to really start again with.
Okay. Thank you. What about you, Pierre? Next to your opinion on Potter, his background, whether you consider him a great fit, etc. Do you also think he should get that big salary, because he wants to have that Premier League salary? Is it something that Ajax needs to do to get us back on where we should be, or is it a more of a take it or leave it thing? Go ahead.
That's quite an interesting question. I mean, it's like the sources said. They were acting like it's a guarantee that Potter will join Ajax, but only if the salary matches up, which is still quite a big question. I think he earned above 10 million at Chelsea, which he'll never get at Ajax. Like, he can ask for it as long as he wants, but he'll never get anything near that. Then again, I have been an advocate of saying, I mean, if we can afford to pay a player like Bergwijn 5 million, then why can't we afford to give a good coach 5 million? I mean, I still feel like coaches are underrated, and compared to players, somewhat underpaid even. That sounds weird because they're not poor by any means, but you get what I'm trying to say. Then again, for the play style, I think it would do Potter a lot of good if he, at least on paper, makes the lineup a 4-3-3. And if it then in-game shifts to a 3-4-3, that's fine. We're used to, in possession, play a 3-4-3 anyway. Just make sure that on paper it's a 4-3-3. It will help you with the fans.
I'm very happy.
Good tip.
Other than that, I think playing wise and the way his players move up the pitch, it's very similar to what Oosting has been doing at Twente. They're playing press, but they're playing more press on heavy touch, for example. If they make a mistake or if they can overload a certain area on the field, then they'll start pressing, but they won't play press like Bos or Slot will do all game, just go forward. So that's quite different. We do need to get used to that. Don't expect him to play full press all game. I don't think it's going to happen. He also likes to be quite conservative in the build-up. He gets his players a lot of options, and that's why they move a lot. But if something won't work out, he will still play a ball sideways or play back and start again.
So no long
so
balls.
That's something to watch out for quite a bit.
But no long balls.
He can, but I don't think he will too much, only if we have to drop back. It's in certain situations, if the opponents try to build up a certain way, then he'll drop somewhat low. but he would prefer to either make a quick counterattack after we take the ball from a small press, or just build up from the back.
Thanks, Ben. It's very interesting and informative. So great to hear this. And what about you, Papimento? Are you happy with this news that we might get in Potter, or do you rather see somebody else, or keep it on the Dutch tour?
No, no, no. Look, on the Dutch tour, I haven't seen any options that is better than Potter. So I'm good with this, that we're going for a foreign coach. He doesn't play the 4-3-3 system. I've seen the Brighton games. He does play possession game. He does like to stretch the pitch. He is tactical, very savvy, and he likes players that can break the line. He trains on off the ball movement a lot. Those are all things that we're not seeing at Ajax. So I'm very happy. The only concern I have is, look, we deal with youngsters. We deal with a different age group, and we deal also with different qualities at Ajax than what he might be used to in the Premier League. Like if we're talking about Brighton, he still had Madison. He still had Trossard. Those are, even though they were not known back then, highly skilled players. And we don't have many of those players. And I'm wondering,
No.
like, that's my only concern. Can he do it also with lesser quality players and put in his stamp on the team at this Ajax? That's my only question mark. But I think he's a good coach. He's a smart coach, and he can bring us. He can move us forward. That's for sure.
And by the way, do you guys know, maybe Papi, Luke, or Peer, the players that were playing at Brighton? As you mentioned, Trossard, etc., etc. Were those players that were brought in by Potter, or with the assistance of Potter, with the approval of Potter, or is it more like the technical director, the sporting director, brought them in and he had to work with those players? Because that's quite interesting to know, to see whether he has anything good in his mind to bring in the good players, the talented players.
I can't say that I know. All I know is that at Chelsea he spent the money, as far as I'm aware, and it did turn out well. Well, he was involved with some of the players that they bought, I think, but at Brighton, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I think it will be hard to say. I think a couple of the ones that we mentioned were already there before Potter was there. And also, I mean, the Brighton squad or the entire club has been quite known for their scouting, and they've been very good with that in the past. So I'm not sure whether it would be much of Potter or just the club themselves having developed that very far and great.
Okay. Well, good to know indeed. But let's wait and see what the viewers have to say about what we just discussed. Maybe there's something interesting or question. Well, I see Solzo Carter. Potter never. Seriously, I want Ten Hag back. So no trust in.
Are they seriously considering sacking him? Yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot of talk about him going, because after the FA Cup, you guys saw that or heard about that, right? The Coventry game. So, but there's been rumors for months and months and months. So, just the same paper talk, really.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Even if they sack him, I don't think he would go back to Ajax.
No, I don't
me
think
neither.
that either. No,
I think he will just. It will be like taking 2 steps back instead of going 1 step back, or at least another step forward, or with another club.
he had to work with Harry Maguire. I think he needs a year off sabbatical.
If it's a bit,
just to rest.
It's a bit off topic, but if Slot was to go to Liverpool, as he's been linked, there's no chance he'd go to Feyenoord, would there?
No,
No,
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
Not saying he will never do it. I don't think he's that much of an Ajax fan that he will never do it. I just think that as well is just too many steps back. I think it will be like Bos did, going to Dortmund and then to Leverkusen or Lyon or something like that.
At least a bigger league. It's not about the club, but a bigger league. And
Yeah, I
see
agree.
him going indeed. Okay, moving further. FC Lawrence. Hi everyone, how are all doing? Doing well, thank you. I hope you're doing well as well. Sivan, hi guys, long time, man. Didn't see you a lot. Happy you're back. You got a fan, Mike, with Mike Bald Luke. Big up, buddy. And as I mentioned as well, 3 more games and we're finally done with this shit show. At least 3 more games. At least. Let's hope for those 3 more games, Sivan.
Yeah, I'm worried it will be 4.
At least. Or you think we're going out of Europe as well?
Yeah, I think we could be going out in the playoffs. I'm worried.
Oh man, you're.
I mean, we're 6th if NAC wins this weekend, and the goal difference I think is still 7, right?
But they still have to play big games, NAC. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Feyenoord just gives them the points. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, no, that's true. But and AZ would already be qualified, perhaps. So yeah, you never know. I mean, there are a lot of haters in this country against Ajax. So
and the biggest problem is that we need to win these next 3 games as well.
Yeah, indeed.
That's not guaranteed.
Oh, go ahead, Puppy.
No, I said that's not guaranteed. So
No,
let's just hope.
Steven also saying I would not get excited for the signing of Potter. We saw what happened with Schreuder and Stan. Until there's actual progress and players are becoming better, the fans should not get excited.
Yeah, but the only difference is Potter has been a coach for a longer time. These are assistant coaches that had no experience being a coach at Ajax, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I see this as a totally different situation.
I mean, the difference is also structure and play style. I mean, Potter wants to play at least somewhat attacking football, whereas Stein and Schreuder have never done that in their lives.
True. I mean,
it wasn't even defensive football. I wouldn't even know what to call it. It wasn't even defensive. It was just hot air, wasn't it? Really.
Inshallah, right? Inshallah football.
Inshallah football indeed. FC Lawrence. Kuffour for me personally would be insane. One of my favorite Ajax players. Yeah, join the line, man. Everybody's having same thought about Kuffour. Yes, Kuffour is welcome. You got Steve on Luke. The dog was barking at the ghost of Chafi.
I've taken my poster down now. My poster's down now.
Question for you, Puppy, from Steve. You were against firing Van Schip and for letting him stay in charge until the end of the season. Do you still have the same opinion? A good question. Nope. You want him out now?
No, I mean, no, of course not. Let him finish the season because nothing is going to change now. But I think we should accept from Van Schip more than what he has been showing lately with the team. Yeah. Because,
yeah. Now, would you still accept him as having a role within the technical management? Because that was basically the next step after this season. Do you see a role for him?
Yes, Ajax DNA is always welcome in the board to give their opinion, their vision, etc. There should be short lines, I think, with ex-footballers and the board. But as a coach, he lacks a lot to be an Ajax coach, I think. Yeah.
Christian, Kuffour is one of my childhood heroes. Please let this happen. Please. Yeah, it's a childhood dream of many. And Mr. Salt even stating, Kuffour, bring him in. Yeah, would love it, man. Would love it. See something which is off topic, but worth mentioning. Guys, Rulli can leave and Pasveer will stop. Actually, there's still Pasveer has apparently is apparently in discussion to extend his contract at Ajax. This is a bit off topic, but would you continue with Pasveer for another season, Peer?
I don't mind. I like Pasveer just as a person as well. I think he's good to have. I don't think he's that expensive either, so it shouldn't be that much of a problem. I like the fact that he actually wants to stay, whereas someone like Gorter keeps wanting to leave, and you can't really have a second or third goalie that wants to leave. It's not great for the team environment.
Yeah. And then for you, it will be Ramai first keeper. And would you put in Pasveer as third, or would we have a new second keeper, or Setford being promoted?
It's interesting. I mean, it depends on who's available. I don't think Setford's ready. So I think you would be looking at some other Eredivisie keepers that might change club or have expiring contracts or whatever.
Yeah. What about you, Luke? You see Pasveer staying, or like move on? We need to build up on a new team, new squad, new players.
No, I don't think you can have too much experience. I think that considering we have a lack of, and we was crying for someone like Jordan Henderson, and when he came in, we thought he was the Messiah. It shows the lack of experience in the squad. So, like Pierre said, it's always good. He's not that expensive. Always good to have around. Nice person. And with the keeper situation, I think you have him as backup. If Horta wants to leave, just let him go. He's not offering anything anyway. And when he did, he wasn't great. Let Rudy go because he's not amazing either. Ramai is obviously number one at the moment, and I think you bring in a youth keeper just as a third keeper. You don't have to play that many games. He could just be there for the experience mainly as well. Just have him around the first team in the changing rooms on the bench. Doesn't have to play unless really has to. And then if it gets to the point where Pasveer and Ramai are both injured, then you can look at getting another goalkeeper potentially or something, or try with like Setford or someone. But yeah, let Horta go and Pasveer can stay.
Anything to add, Puppy? Or shall I just move on?
No, I'm good with him as a second keeper. I think he's good at his feet. I think he has a calmness over him when he's in the goal. So you can use him as a second keeper. Huge experience. I think one of the most underrated keepers that have been in the Eredivisie for a long time. So Ramai first, him second. I like him as a person, as Pierre said, and I think he's good for the group. And our keepers are not our main focus at the moment, Sabi. So let that be sorted. Let us focus on other things.
Fair enough, yeah. Puppy. We got Mike. Mike, how you doing, man? Potter will be a really good fit at Ajax. I see a lot of United fans really want to see Potter at Ajax. I'm wondering why. Interesting to know. Also stating, as Sir Alex used to say, no player should be paid more than the manager. That's when we talked about the salary, the huge gap, wants to earn a lot, etc. So yeah, he might have a point.
Hasn't been the case though for a long time.
Guardadinho, we don't care. Sorry, if they're standing up, we don't care. Move on. Another United fan, love to see Potter go to Ajax. So it's
an English thing, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. No, because United fans clearly didn't want to see Henderson at Ajax. A lot of UK fans didn't want to see.
No, but that was a different reason. That had something to do with his
the reasoning
LGBTQ
why he went to
something, right?
Yeah, and that he went for the money, etc., etc. Indeed.
I feel like when people say this, they just want him to go to Ajax so he can't go to United. I can't read it any other way. I don't trust them.
Because United was also interested in Potter, so I'm quite interested to know what the real reason is for having him at our club.
But there's been a lot of links with Southgate as well, so I don't know.
I thought that would be much worse.
Indeed. We got nickname 12321. Thanks for this info. So the company Star Lizard is doing all the scouting for Brighton. In other words, Potter is just working with the players, but didn't have any input on whether certain players would come in. Godfrey Drummond, hello panel. What's the latest on Frank de Boer? I know we had some interviews. Puppy, do you have any latest info?
The only thing I saw was he got interviewed while he was golfing, and he said, if Ajax needs me, they can call. That's the only thing I heard from Frank de Boer, and that he was a contender to become coach of Ajax, but let's hope it's Potter.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said, he basically said it in multiple media, also at Viaplay, where he was one of the panels, one of the pundits for the Premier League games. And he basically said the same. I'm available. They can call me and we can see what we can do with each other, what we can expect from each other. So they got my phone number. They can call whatever they want.
I mean, to be fair, Boss said that last year and we ignored him, so we should definitely ignore the Boer.
But I have to say, I do like that former Ajax heads, Ajax players and managers are willing to be there if the club need them. I do like that, even though you don't want it to be the boy.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they're willing to help as and when.
You
That's
saw
a
that
nice
with
Yeah, but Luke, the problem with me and Frank de Boer is if you really have an Ajax heart, you don't wait for the call. You just go to the club and discuss what you can do.
Yeah,
and
sure.
and this is like, oh, if they need me, I'll come, but they have to put the first step. And
That's because they wouldn't answer the door if he knocks.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's very childish, in my opinion.
I fully agree with you. It's getting me so frustrated when a person like Snyder or Van der Vaart keep on criticizing Ajax, but then in the meantime, yeah, I would love to help Ajax, but they need to call me or they need to put this but in the meantime, criticizing the club in every way possible. So that annoys me. And you got also Kluivert, who literally said that he wants to have a role at Ajax. So I'm glad players or previous players, former players with an Ajax DNA wants to come. Maybe we can do something with that. I will leave it up to Cruz, of course.
I also feel like there's always somewhat of an asterisk. It's like Frank de Boer saying, they can call me if they need me, but only as a head coach. I'm not going to be an assistant coach, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel like Ajax might want them, but in a certain role, but that role probably isn't good enough for them. That's how I feel from time to time.
But for Frank de Boer, I can rely on that because, I mean, he was a head coach for 4 years where he was 4 times champions, or he was even 4.5 year coach. So to come back and be an assistant coach, I mean, for me, it would not be something that I would take as well. But I mean, that's
no,
me.
I'm not saying it's that weird, but if you really want to help Ajax, then you would do that. No questions asked.
No, I mean, fair enough. You have a point.
What Van Schip did, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. AP, glad to see you all talking about Ajax. Greetings from a fellow Dutchman from London. Welcome and happy to have you here. We got Christian with an inside joke, I guess. Bring back Vermeer as a second goalie. A question for Papi from the Vagebond. Potter did a great job in Sweden and promoted twice with a small team. So he showed he can build a team with lesser quality. So here you got your answer. He can work with those small teams.
It's relative to the league though as well, isn't it? I'm not disrespecting the Swedish league by all means. He got them promoted and stuff, but he did get his only massive job was Chelsea, and he didn't do so well. So you can understand why people would be split on it and cautious, considering the manager's early years and where we are. You get sick of it. You just want to have one manager now and settle and try to build. So I think we're all tired of go through managers.
It's not only that he did well in Sweden, right? And I mean, when I think about Potter, I think how he played with Brighton. And
I'm not saying that.
And if I look at the team goals and how they pass to each other, how the movement of the ball, etc., that gets me excited. So it's not only he did it in Sweden.
No, I understand, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is from that comment is that he did it with a lower team in Sweden, but in all respect to Sweden, it's not as difficult as doing it with Brighton and then in the Eredivisie, etc. So it's just following on from the comment with the big players, lesser players, etc., etc. That's all.
Yeah, okay, but then to be devil's advocate, you are really a fan of Knudsen. He is doing the same, right, in Norway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just saying relative to the
Yeah.
league, you know. So he
Yeah.
might come here and blow everyone out the water and be amazing because he joined. Obviously, went from Sweden to Brighton, so he could have learned a lot in between.
Okay. And then let Frank de Boer stay where he is. We don't want to see that terrible football at Ajax again. Well, we do see
We're
terrible
already
football
seeing
right
it.
now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to make it any worse.
Exactly.
Mike stating, what's the like situation? I don't know, man.
I can't see that.
I can't see it, but for everyone who is watching, I mean, it's an easy task. Push the like button. So and of course subscribe if you haven't. We would really appreciate that. Nick's Dooner, I'm happy again if we have Potter official. I think it's a matter of time. If we hear the rumors from big media, from big media from the UK and here. Yeah, and I'm also stated. Let's be honest, the Boer only did well because the rest was so much worse. Apart from the first match against Milan, the Boer achieved nothing in Europe.
Was Potter at the game yesterday? Because I remember seeing people saying he was going to be at the match, but they didn't show him on the feed. He wasn't actually there, was he, yesterday? No, okay.
No, he wasn't there. Godfrey Drummond, thanks, Pedro, for answering my question on Frank de Boer. Cheers. Is Wim Jonk still managing? Otherwise, he would be a useful asset to Ajax, in my opinion. Well, we all know he's not a manager anymore. And I think he said somewhere in an interview that he would be open to come back to Ajax. I don't know in what kind of role.
But they need to call me first.
No. He said they needed to figure things out first, which, I mean...
He has a point, right? He went on a bad note away from Ajax when he left.
Yeah,
it wasn't
but he also went
amicable.
But he also
I don't think it would be good if he would be added right now because it's just creating more conflict is what I feel like it would do.
Just remind me, was he a CEO or was he a technical director at Volendam? What was he?
No, at first he was a coach. He was first a coach, and then he became part of the technical manager. I think he was. No, he was
the other way around.
The CEO was that singer. What was his name?
Jan Smit.
Jan Smit, yeah. So he was probably a technical manager, something like that. But yeah, I mean, if Jaiderenko was here, he would definitely answer that he would be an asset because he loves Jonk at Ajax. But it's all about which course are we heading, and Jonk is more on the youth, developing youth, giving you the chance. But would that be enough for now? It could be if we start from scratch. But on the other hand, we might want to be more not less conservative and be having good plays as well, great plays as well. But it's
look,
difficult.
Sabi, experience has taught us that only youngsters in your team get you inconsistencies. Okay, one game it can be great, other games it can be terrible. We need experience combined with that youth. It cannot be only youth. So if Jonk is only promoting youth, then I would say don't do it.
Yeah.
I somewhat agree, but I still don't like the term experience because we should have plenty of that this season. I mean, we have Van de Bomen, we have Roelie, we have Pasveer, we have Henderson now, we have Bergwijn, we have Sosa, we have Berghuis. They should all be more than experienced enough, but there's no leadership. There's no leadership qualities. Nobody's taking charge on the pitch. And we keep calling it experience, but I don't really like the term because there's plenty of players with
I say experience
that...
in the sense like if you look at the 2018-19 with Ten Hag, it took Tadic and Blind to come back, combined with these youngsters to make it a stable team. I think if you take away those Tadic and Blind from that team, it wouldn't be as consistent as we have seen that season.
I mean, I agree, but the odds of buying another Tadic and Blind next summer is...
Oh, no, that's not going to happen.
It's never happening. They're too expensive as well.
But don't you think like players that suck this season would be better under Potter?
Yeah,
Like a
definitely. A
Mikotauza,
lot
for
of them would
instance,
be a
or
lot better. Yeah, I completely
yeah,
agree.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I mean, there's no argument in this, of course.
but I'm
Okay.
still worried about if we're gonna go for experienced players to complete create a more balanced roster next season. Who could we possibly buy that would be of good quality and would still have experience? It would be
Yeah, I
a
mean,
tough ask.
define good quality because Tadic, great player, but he came from Southampton. A lot of clubs didn't consider him great quality, just like Blind. And if you look at the age of the squad like that started these last couple of games, it was merely 21 years old, I think, and now it's even lesser because Ramai was the one who who bumped up the
Rooney, you
age.
mean?
No,
Rooney, you
really,
mean?
really did.
Ruli
Yeah.
now, yeah. So
Yeah.
indeed. So what does that say? I mean, and I think that's more the balance that we seek. And Henderson will come back, etc., etc. But is that sufficient? We'll just have to wait and see. Let's move on to another topic, and it's related to the players that are being loaned out by Ajax, uh, um, and it's more precisely related to, in this case, Miko Tatso and Chico, who, by the way, will be sold after the season because Porto will trigger the clause in the contract, which means that he will be bought for 10 million, meaning 5 million profit for Ajax. But my question is mainly why are these players performing well outside of Ajax? So within Ajax, we criticize them or they're not efficient, they're not scoring, they're not assisting, and now they're getting loaned out and they're performing well. Actually, they're performing great. So what could be the reason, guys? I mean, is it Ajax? Is it the players? Is it the country? Is it the league?
It's because they're
Look,
playing, Subby. It's because they're playing games. They're not sat on the bench and playing one game a month, right? And also they're under either a manager with a system in place and they're able to manage them, allows them to adapt to the system, or they've gone back. Both players have gone back to where they came from, and they know the culture and they haven't got to adapt because they're already used to it. So obviously we've seen the things that Mikotadze said about, in the room and how Ajax treated him and things like that. And if it's true, we obviously can't say if it is or not, but if it's true, then obviously that's going to have a negative effect on the player trying to adapt in a different country, right? And we all know the quality of him, and it's disappointing now to see him. Good for him to see him score goals, but annoying for us to know that he can score goals, and we didn't want to play him in the position. But at the same time, this is when Robbie decided to have his best season I've seen, and decided to score a lot of goals at the same time. So, it's like you have to pick between the two. But it's definitely because the disaster of 2 seasons we've had, the constant change of managers and a constant change of like technical staff, etc., etc. We're just not stable, and some players you need a stable environment for them to thrive in, and we didn't have it.
do you see the same? Do you see it as the same pair?
Yeah, I think it's somewhat the same. I think you can all bring it down to structure. I mean, there's no structure on the field. There's no structure off the field. They don't play consistent over here. It's also something that has been bugging when people are talking about players to sign and they're saying, should we get another player from Brazil because he'll have to adapt and it's completely different over here and it will take some time. But you're supposed as a club to give them the best circumstances they can possibly get, and I feel like that's not what Ajax have been doing lately, and it's breaking up some of these players and it's making it really hard for them, and that's why they are now shining again when they do have a more comfortable situation with more
Yeah,
structure.
yeah, and I think the keyword's indeed a comfortable situation because Chico went back to Porto where he used to play, although not all the time, but used to play. Miko Tatsa went back to Metz where he was treated as a god, and all the fans cheering and chanting for him, and he's repaying them by scoring goals. Papi Mento, do you think it has to do with getting back to the club? So, meaning if they would go to a new club, that they would do equally well, or is it more like they're going back, just like you're going back to your parents' house? You feel the warmth and you perform well, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, look, these players came in, and we all know the media here. They cracked on everything Mislintat touched. Players were not good enough, as our coach Stein back then. From the first interviews, these players are not good enough. So, what are these foreign players gonna think? Now, you could discuss whether we should have gone for these players, but if I look at Mika Tatsu, for instance, in France, and I look at how he played at Ajax, a totally different player. Like, I didn't even know he could touch a ball and keep it in front of him like he does in France. Like, every ball he was touching at Ajax would jump off his feet. He didn't know what to do with the ball after that. So I think if these players need faith, need trust, need a team to fall into, and they didn't have any of that. It didn't feel like a family coming in at Ajax. It felt like a stranger for months, and you just have to prove yourself and constantly hearing you're not good enough. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's the best atmosphere for these players to grow and become better.
Yeah.
I
And he
do also
basically,
feel like the
uh,
expectations don't really help. I mean, I think Mislintat said that he could play as a right winger and a left winger, and he
that's not
can't. I
correct
mean,
indeed.
he's a striker.
He's a
He
striker.
played,
Yeah.
I think, only 33 minutes as a striker. We didn't even give him a real shot. And I don't like the fact as well that we keep trying to buy players that have to be a direct impulse to the team. It almost always takes a player a year or something to get used to the environment and start playing better and better. I mean, even Minte at Feyenoord, who clearly is now, I think, their best player, didn't play the first half of the year because he just has to get used to certain things.
Yeah.
And even with us, a couple years ago, for example, Neres was
Alvarez.
here for at least a half a year before he started getting minutes in the first team.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to develop players anymore. We're just trying to buy players that are just simply good enough. And it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, a good thing that you brought this up, because Miko Tatsa held an interview this week, or at the start of the week, where he actually was complaining a lot, and he was bashing Ajax for the fact that they never took care of him, so to say, never helped him to adapt to the Netherlands, to the Dutch culture, to the housing, because he was put in a hotel and never been able to help him find a home, because you don't want a hotel, you want a home. So uh, he even went to Airbnb and rented a house, an apartment, so his family could live there with him. And for him, that was one of the reasons why he could not perform at his best. And he blames Ajax for this, because they didn't think about him in his view. Hearing this, of course, this is of course very sad to hear and to read, etc. But who do you think should be responsible for this? Like having him adapted to not only the football part of the club, but to the living, to the day-to-day way of living in the Netherlands. Do you think it's a responsibility of Ajax, or should we put the responsibility on the agent, because he's responsible for the player, and he needs to make sure that he is adapted to every needs that he wishes for? Puppy, your thought about this?
Look, let's start with, I think, the most crucial people when foreign players come in or new players come in. First of all, is your coach and your captain, that need to introduce him to the team, need to bring him along with the team, need to take him out for a dinner as a team. I cannot believe you stay in the house for 2 months and nothing happened as a team. So I do blame also a captaincy role. But if we're talking about Ajax, on the other hand, we have had many foreign players coming to Ajax. I cannot understand how a professional club doesn't have a process to handle foreign players coming in. Like, help them with the logistics, help them with finding a house, help them with the basics, and then let them flourish. But just buying them and hoping they will figure it out, that's not the way to go, I would say.
Yeah.
So I would expect a little bit more professionalism in this one. I just don't know why it doesn't happen.
Yeah, you think the same, Luke, on this, or have a different opinion?
No, I
By the way,
agree.
sorry, Luke. Just, is this Siemerink his role, by the way, or as team manager, or
He is
not
a team
involved?
manager, but it's unclear whether this is part of his role, because he's responsible for the score. He's responsible for the for having the equipment, for having the contracts or the players signed for the Europa League or the Champions League, etc. I don't know whether he's responsible for the players adapting, or for the housing, etc. It might be possible, but unclear for me. But for you, Luke,
Luke, sorry. Yeah.
do you think? Do you think?
Sorry.
Do you have the same thought as Papi? Same opinion?
I forgot now. No, I'm missing. So no, I think that a club should have like a player welfare type program in place, and I'm sure most clubs do. The top clubs, I imagine they do. I don't imagine you wouldn't have that. But I feel like Mislintat would have been that person, because he's the one who signed them. I think the technical director, him, I reckon he would have made sure they settled. But because he was sacked within a month after, nothing's happened, right? And I'm sure that he would have, because they're his players and he's in charge of signing them, I'm sure he would have allowed them, because how was the same thing not happen to Agpom? How was the same thing not happen to the other players he signed? So I imagine that he has done it with some players that, and I know different players adapt at different levels and different speed and things like that, but I feel like he would have had some role in making sure they were settled to an extent, that make sure they had a place to live. And okay, because, you know, I'm sure that some players have things in their contract where they're like, okay, yeah, I'll come. Can you make sure the house is ready for me, or can you find me a house? I'm sure there's little logistics like that. And then him being sacked, who's then going to take responsibility? No one. So he's left, because we haven't had a technical director. The manager was just done it. It was just spinning around in circles and then get sacked. So, and then we've had the supervisory board just doing nothing anyway. So there's no one that took charge, and they all just left to their own devices, aren't they? That's why there's no cohesion in the team. That's why there's no unity until Van Skip comes in and he tried to do his best with it. But, you know, it's definitely with the club, nothing to do with agents.
Okay, yeah, you seen it the same with the Akpom complaining as well, and stating that was one of the reasons why he couldn't perform at his best at the start. For you, Pierre, do you agree with Luke and Papimento on who is responsible eventually?
Yeah, this is something that actually frustrates me quite a lot. I've studied technical engineering and management myself. So project management and looking at processes and seeing how they work and where the problems occur is a very big thing in what I study. So it's very frustrating to see these things happen, because if this happens once, you should fix it. It's very clear what the problem is. These guys are your human capital. It's ridiculous that you don't have a system to provide them with what they need, and so they can perform. I mean, if these guys don't perform, they'll lose value and it'll cost the club a lot of money. And there's just nothing done to help them. You're supposed to provide them with whatever they need. I don't care if they need friends. You give them friends. It doesn't make any sense. Make sure they feel at home. Give them a home. So many big companies, and I'm not even talking only football-related companies. If they headhunt someone, a big person, let's say they need a new CEO, they'll headhunt him from a different country. That person will come over here and he'll get a home. Everything will be provided. You're not expecting them to just do everything themselves. You let them do what they are good at, and you provide the rest. And Ajax is not doing that.
No. I mean, I fully agree with you, Pierre. And about the human capital, We gained a little bit with Chico, but that's because of the wrong reasons. But with Miko Tatso, there is a buy clause of, I think, 10 million. We bought him for 16. Well, it's almost guaranteed that they will trigger that clause, because in any case, they could resell him to another club for a huge profit. So this is really ridiculous, and hopefully a lessons learned from Ajax to handle your players in a good way and in a professional way, but more on a human way. So yeah, okay, clear. Thanks, guys. Let me go through the comments before we finish up our session. Let me go through. There are some questions, maybe off topic, but we just go through the comments one by one. Stefan says, guys, should Bergwijn stay at Ajax, or should he instead pursue a career in the UFC?
This guy can go and just and be a baker for all I care, man. This guy just likes going home, gets a new tattoo, and then comes back next week to do nothing. So,
well, I knew the opinions of Luke and Bobby Mento. What about you, Pierre?
he's in my top 5 worst signings ever, and he's asking me this question.
My problem is, the thing with Bergwijn is he was so expensive that you kind of need to get 25 million back, and it will be tough. And I think if you get 20, maybe slightly less, you could try, but it isn't good for the books and the balance to let him go for anything less than that, because he hasn't been there here for this long, and you'll have to write it down as a loss, and they won't do that. So it's going to be quite rough.
We should send him to the desert. Maybe we can get some profit out
I mean,
of it.
I would love 30 million, but that would be great.
We'll swap him for a camel, because I would take a camel at left wing than Bergwijn at this rate, to be honest.
Yeah, but that will be a transfer loss of like 20 million in the books. They can't do it. They'll rather have him stuck somewhere in the club.
It's Ajax. We will sell that camo with a good margin. Don't worry.
We'll bring a new camel for a young, and a new camel will come for a young one.
I mean, at least he has good statistics.
Roy stating, where's Juan, by the way? Did he check it out because he couldn't think of at least 5 last questions? I don't know, man. I don't know. We just have to ask him next time he's in.
He's Ajax move. Ajax tired.
Yeah, Ajax tired.
Needs a break. Mentally, it's heavy.
He was already sick last time because of the huge loss of Anderson now. Oh man! In this way, he will probably leave weTalk Ajax if he continue.
We are crying inside, guys. Don't look at the faces laughing. Yeah,
this is our therapy session. Like, this is our way of closing it.
Ajax Anonymous, and AA meetings.
Yeah, indeed. Just from Gottfried Drummond, Edgar Yari and Dennis, get them on board to be involved with the youth setup. So he's talking about Davis, Liedman, and Bergkamp, I guess.
I like I like the idea of this.
I would love that.
I'm just with Bergkamp. I'm just with the difficulties of him working prior. I'm just a bit like, is he difficult to work with? I love Bergkamp, my favorite ever player in football forever, but he just seems like he was difficult to work with Bosch back in the day. He's never had a job. He never managed to get a job at Arsenal, which was linked, and I don't think he's ever had a job since, around. So he just sounds like he's just difficult to work with, from what I can remember anyway. But all on board if Yari and Edgar were to come back and have some kind of say, because I really love them too as well.
Yeah, for me, I mean, if Yari doesn't matter which role Yari gets, if he gets in, I would be happy. I'll
play him. Play him left wing.
just put him there every weekend shaking hands. That would be great.
He could be, indeed, but he could be our number 10, and he would score more goals than the current number 10s.
Maybe that NM question, Sahbi, could be our last final question. Above the Gottfried you just had.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me go to that after this one. Maybe Pierre knows. I mean, who do you want to buy this summer as a right winger? And of course, we can't go for a player that is very well known, very good, very
Messi.
expensive, etc. So, but maybe Pierre has a name for us.
I actually do have a name, but this is kind of on the assumption that Berghuis also stays. I think if you let Berghuis go, you'll get about 3 million and you won't be able to buy 2 new right wingers. It would be quite tough. So let's say if he stays, then you want a younger player to play besides him or slowly start taking his spot. And I would go with Geronimo Rivera from Banfield in Argentina.
Okay.
This guy has been impressing me lately. He's very fast and he likes to cut inside. Is the kind of player you go to the stadium for.
You two
But-
guys, watch the name.
Like Forbes,
Look
speed
him.
merchant, or he can dribble. as
No,
well?
no. He can dribble much better than Forbes can.
Okay, good.
Not just
Come
a
on.
big sprinter, and that's it.
Uh,
He's not a footballer. He's a sprinter indeed.
Okay.
I have a question, actually. Sorry.
Yeah.
Rasmussen been playing in Denmark this season. Christian Rasmussen. Sorry. So, if we're lacking a right winger, and like you said, Pierre, if Bergwijn goes and we sign one winger, we can't afford two. Do we give him an opportunity? Does he have a place around the first team, even as a backup? He's been okay.
I
in
still
Denmark,
like
from
him
what
more
I've
as a striker than as a right winger, so I'm not sure. I also think as a striker, Rijkhoff is better, so it's quite tough. And I think Noord-Holland have a buy option. I'm not sure whether they will actually buy him, but if he's doing well over there and he's doing, I think, okay, they might
he's
just
doing
buy
okay,
him,
yeah.
and then we don't have a choice at all.
seen. There we go.
Here you go, Papi. And with a question: which player would each of you want to bring in as a first choice, if there's something that comes on your mind? Bring it up. Otherwise, think about it, and maybe we can discuss this in another session. Because it's difficult.
I do have certain positions I know that I want to fix. Those are the back positions, 100% sure. And I think that would be my main priority because I'm not fond of Guy. I'm not fond of Sosa. I'm not fond of Owen Wijndal that's going to get another chance. Rensch did well. I don't think Hato is a back, to be honest.
What about
I like him
Martha, though?
central.
Bro,
Martha
No.
can also leave, no? Yeah, I think they already told him
No.
he can leave. So.
no. But there will
So-
be there will be like a
we
specific.
need the next news. We need the next Tagliafico. We
yeah,
need some
it's gonna be
Pienta in this
difficult.
team.
It's
Some
gonna be
technical
difficult.
ability. I'm missing that, bro.
We
Yeah.
need the next Sosa. So really, do you know what I mean?
No, I don't know
No
what you
sauce.
mean. No, but
Oh, shit.
we will talk about this in one of the next sessions to see the current squad. Should we deal with it? Extend? Should we sell? Should we keep? Etc. Etc. And this will be a fun talk to have. So very soon. Just to finish it off, the last comments. Hi guys, sorry for the late jump in. Why not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Ajax? What is
He
is
has
that?
no affiliation with Ajax. I don't know.
I like
his
the
coaching
song, but
style.
that's about it.
That's it indeed. So no,
And-
no fans of Ole.
No, I mean
at
he
all.
played at United as a coach in a very counter-oriented way, and I know the United team was set up that way. So I don't even know if he's capable of playing an attacking system. He's unknown to me.
Yeah. Okay. Last comment. Good point from Pierre. New players need time. If Liedman was treated the way new players are treated now, he would never have brought us the heights we reached in 94 to 96.
He was learning from the best, though.
Absolutely right. I mean,
But he was learning from Bergkamp. That's a different case than what they're learning from Bergwijn, I think.
Oh, it starts with Berg, what's the
Well
difference?
said. Well said. Well said. Well said. Okay, guys, I want to thank you all for participating, for your opinions, for your knowledge, of course, and was fun. Also, a big thank you for the viewers, for the questions, for the comments. We have a long week before we get the next game against Volendam. A must win again. Hopefully, a good win, and some competitors who will lose points. but that's something that we need to discuss another time. Thank you all. Don't forget to subscribe, to give a like, and see you all again next time, man. Have a nice day.
Right.